How are you doing today? Alright, today I'll be presenting on the beginning of laptops. What are laptops? A laptop computer is a small clamshell personal computer that on the upper lid of it has your LCD screen, which is a liquid crystal display, and then on the bottom of it has your alphabetic keyboard on it, and then when you open it, they call that the clamshell. What's inside your computer? Well, first you have your processor, which is a central processing unit, or your main processor, which is an electronic circuitry within a computer that carries out the instructions of the computer program by performing the basic arithmetic and logic controlling and input and output operations specified by the instructions. And then you have your hard drive. Your hard drive is an electromechanical data storage device that uses magnetic storage to store and retrieve digital information using one or more rigid, rapidly rotating disks coated with magnetic material. Then you have your system memory. Your system memory is where you hold your data using levels of like ROM, RAM, cache, or paging graphics. And then you have your screen, which is your liquid crystal display. Then you have your optical drives, which is a disk that uses laser light or electromagnetic waves within or near the visible light spectrum as part of the process of reading or writing data to or from the optical disc. Then you have your external ports, which is used like your cable modems to listen to your WAN. And then you have your networking card, which is your computing device that exchanges data with each other using connections between nodes. And then you have your video cards, which is like your expansion card, which generates a feed of output images to a display device.
If you're thinking of buying a computer, you may have wondered, is a laptop right for me? Depending on how you plan to use it, the answer may be yes. In this video, we'll look at some of the ways that a laptop is different from a desktop to help you decide. The biggest difference is portability. Laptops have to be small and light so that you can pick them up and take them with you. Since all of the basic parts are built in, setting up a laptop is as easy as opening it. The downside is that the monitor is usually smaller than a desktop monitor, so you'll have less screen space. Another important difference is that laptops use a battery. The battery can provide power to the laptop when you're on the go, and it will recharge whenever it's plugged in. An added benefit of having a battery is if the power goes out, the battery can work as a backup power source. Instead of a mouse, laptops usually have a built-in touchpad, also known as a trackpad. You can control the pointer on the screen by using a drawing motion with your finger. If you haven't used a touchpad before, the experience is a little bit different from using a mouse, and it may take a while to get used to. If you're buying a desktop computer, you can mix and match almost any monitor, keyboard, and mouse that you want. With a laptop, you won't have quite as much freedom since everything is built in. However, if you want to have the best of both worlds, you can use your laptop's ports to connect a separate monitor, keyboard, and mouse, basically turning your laptop into a desktop. And of course, whenever you want to, you can simply disconnect everything and take your laptop with you. As you can see, there are some important differences between laptops and desktops. So depending on your preferences, you can decide which one best suits your needs.
What would you use your laptop for? Some people use them for gaming, business projects, or work. And then they have also become very popular throughout the decade as we grow today with them. Like laptops meant for business, like the laptop I have down there that Mr. Hamilton will pass around. It's pretty much like a business laptop, which you use for, like, I don't know, if you're going into a, say, like a presentation that you're going to present to your work, you want to use one of these to have more of a better type of, I guess, documents to use for them. And then you have your laptops for gaming, which become very important to gamers. So who games here? Okay, good bit of you. Alrighty, well you probably want to use more of like the Lenovo Legion, which has pretty much become the more popular gaming laptop these days.
The first computers used to be the size of an entire room. Then they were built to fit on your desk. The newest design is a portable device that sits on your lap. And today's laptops are made even smaller and more powerful than ever. With its lightning-fast processor and impressive graphics, this laptop is designed for high-performance gaming. The computer's brain, called the motherboard, begins as a printed circuit board. Its pattern of lines and pads in copper is the wiring for the electronic components that will be soldered to the board. This machine places a stencil of the component layout onto the board and applies solder paste through the openings. A quality inspection camera photographs the solder paste and sends the images to a computer. The computer analyzes them, looking for any missing paste, misalignment, or other mistakes. If the board passes inspection, it passes through 15 robotic machines, each of which places up to 150 components on the correct locations on the board in just 30 seconds. Then the board runs through an oven that melts the solder paste, connecting the components to the board. Another camera inspection ensures that the internal processor is correctly soldered and that no component is missing or shifted out of position. After function testing and a visual inspection, the motherboard moves to the assembly line and is set aside for the time being. Next, technicians manually assemble the top half of the laptop, called the panel kit. They place protection film on the 15-inch LCD screen. Then they plug in the cable that will connect the LCD to the motherboard. They insert the LCD screen into a frame, with the web camera and microphone already embedded. Then they attach this antenna bottom cover to the screen cover and position the motherboard cable inside it. Next, they install the module for the webcam and microphone. They attach two hinges, which connect this panel kit to the rest of the laptop. Then they install the Wi-Fi antenna and the antenna bottom cover. All components are concealed in the antenna bottom cover behind this antenna top cover. They complete the panel kit by pressing in a thin metal frame around the screen. Next, they assemble the bottom half of the laptop. First, technicians attach the top cover to the panel kit hinges and the touchpad. Then they install the right and left speakers in the top cover. Now the motherboard comes back into play. After inspection, a computer-guided router cuts out openings to accommodate the computer's fans, which prevent the electronics from overheating. A gaming laptop generates a lot more heat than a regular laptop, and therefore requires two powerful fans rather than one. After checking that the fan screws are sufficiently tightened, they place the motherboard into the top cover. Contaminants such as dust or oil can impede proper contact, so as a precaution, they clean the connectors for the memory modules with solvent, then dry them with compressed air. Then they install the memory modules, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module, and the solid-state disk which stores data. They connect a high-capacity battery to the motherboard. Batteries for gaming laptops are typically larger because the faster processor and dual fans consume more power. The last component is the keyboard, which fits into a rectangular opening in the top cover of the bottom half. A laser etching machine marks the required information underneath. An automated machine tests numerous functions, and a quality control team tests several others, including the virtual reality feature. The LCD and keyboard color displays, and the keys. Not only must the keys function properly, they need to be durable, so enthusiastic gamers won't break them while playing.
What do you get with that? Alright. And here I'm going to show you some of from the very beginning where laptops began. One of the first ones was the Epson HX20, which was invented in July 1980 by Yoki Yokozawa, who worked with Sawa Seiko. I don't know how to say that last name, but it was like a brand of Japanese companies that received the patent for the invention. And then we have the TRS-80 model, which was invented in 1982 with Microsoft workers and Bill Gates, who began discussing the design for the portable computer that featured the new LCD screen in it. And then later, they showed the prototype to Radio Shack, and the retailers agreed to manufacture it. And then we have the IBM 5155, which was created in 1984. Then they announced it later on. And then we have the NEC Ultralight, which was created in 1989. The release of it was considered by some actual like notebook style, and it only weighed under 5 pounds. And then we have the Apple laptops, which came out in October of 1991, which released with they first released with the Macintosh PowerBook, the 100, and then they released the 140, and then the 170. And then we have the SENS 810 notebook, which was released in 1996, featuring the curved like butterfly keyboard, designed to expand for like easier typing and anything that you need to do. They did have a similar like desktop form as the other ones that were out. Any questions?
When it comes to laptops, how far back did they actually go?
Well, some of them, I don't know like the very specific because they weren't really documented, but the farthest one that I saw was at least 1980.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that concludes my presentation.